passion is there? How much do I cling to a self? And that is an important thing to see for yourself in the beginning. So love is the essence of this practice, and the implements are secondary. Even though you might have a great Dhammaru and a golden bell, if you have no love, then there is little benefit. Of course, according to the Buddha's words, there is, of course, some benefit, but there will not be a true benefit if love is lacking. So love really is most important.
차도 오는 당생길 다 포함가 자꾸 그러지. 또 잡겨서 그만 쓰가면 다 되네. 다장 타토가 차송아. 야, 다 지레스. 또 다레스. 대로 상호다면서 유모 지수시로 능력 중空대 양양 상호다는 대로 다 가리고 다 죽을 특집을 가리서 지치남 다게 파마이시 버이샤샤로도 소스 당하고서 보지 아주 살고서 대로를 삼다 칸이 될라 공대라 뭐 쭉 가래인바 책대 연구를 쭉 담으라 요래 책대도 돈인 제일 대로는 제식으로 해서
And so for the church practice, the church has also, in a way, its own view that is explained. And so that is the view, according to the church, is that it says one needs to understand that there is no actual separation between gods and demons. Only temporarily, due to a temporary condition, there is the appearance of a demon, of an obstacle, a harm door. And it seems real to one. There is real harm that one actually experiences. Some people say that an evil spirit has entered their mind, and then they have all sorts of negative dreams. So it seems real for the time being. So then why do we say that there are no real gods and demons? There is no separation between them. It is because ultimately the demons possess Buddha nature, I possess Buddha nature, and we are one with the mind of the Buddha. There is no separation. There is no real evil spirit or no real demon. So if there is no real demon, then why do we even speak about different classes of demons? There is a whole body of instructions that lists various kinds of demons and evil spirits in great detail, actually. So temporarily, there is the appearance of demon and evil spirits. And first of all, what creates a demon? What is a demon, really? It arises out of self-grasping. It arises out of the wish that considers oneself, the mind that considers oneself most important. I'm most important. That is where the demon arises from. For example, when I'm sitting here on my cushion, and then I want to be comfortable. I don't want to be in pain, so I'm sitting on my cushion. But then somebody else might be in pain because they don't have a cushion. But I don't care about that because as long as I'm comfortable, then that's all that really matters to me. And there's no awareness of other people having any suffering. But other people also feel pain, and they also don't want to suffer. And then they get angry because you're not sharing, and you only care about yourself. So, on the other hand, you have no awareness of that at all. For example, you go to a restaurant, or a person that only thinks about themselves goes to a restaurant. The restaurant is a bit crowded, it's kind of small, and the person doesn't really care about any of the other customers. He only cares about his own food in his own place. So he sits down on his chair and sits in whichever way is comfortable to him, and even if that means blocking the road, the path, so nobody can walk through. It's a small restaurant, but the person doesn't care. It doesn't even occur to that person that somebody might find it difficult to pass through. So this is how somebody thinks when they only care about themselves. So first there's a dualistic perception, and then within that there's only care for oneself. And another person might think that I cannot block the way. So a person, even though there is a duality, if they have concern for others, they would, of course, want to eat their food and sit down, but at the same time, they will have some awareness of how their presence affects other people. And other people feel offended when they can't walk through, for example. So you will be careful to make enough space. So at the very least, if we are not able to put others before ourselves or exchange self with others, at least we should equalize self with others. Treat others the way we also want to be treated. And from that, wisdom arises. And eventually, then there will be really no enemy. But then, if we only consider ourselves as important, then we create a lot of enemies. For example, in a previous life, you might have had parents or anyone else who was very, very kind to you. Your parents, for example, sent you to school and they raised you, they cared for you with love. But at that time, you didn't appreciate their kindness and you didn't want to study and so on. And you were angry at them and that made them angry. And then all their love, however much love they had for you, then turned into anger. And then they died. And as a result of that, there exists still a close connection of resentment and anger. And that is why, again, in this life, you meet as enemies. So once there is this dualistic perception in this way, and we have created a connection of anger in previous lives, as a result of that, in this life, we experience all kinds of obstacles and harm. And that is why it seems that there is an enemy or there is some kind of evil spirit or some kind of demonic harm. Some people speak about nightmares that they're having, or some people say that someone is casting spells on them and so on. But actually all of that comes back to karma in previous lives. Again, the cause is one's own actions, negativities, and obscurations. The condition are the evil spirits, demons, and hindrances. And the result is suffering, illness, and so forth. So once one has created the karma to experience a certain kind of harm, then it is only a question of time when the condition ripens. When the condition is present, it will ripen, and then there is suffering. So that's an extremely important point to understand. We also mentioned that yesterday during the Third Empowerment. This relation between the cause, the condition, and the result. That's important to understand. All harm and suffering comes from the cause, which is one's own karma. And that is what we often don't understand, those causes, the relation between the causes and the conditions. So we have created a cause, and then a momentary condition arises, and then that leads to suffering. For example, you have a companion, a friend that you love very much. You get along really well. And then one day something happens, and that triggers a feeling of jealousy in you. And then that jealousy increases, and then that jealousy triggers resentment in the other person. And then the other person begins to dislike you. And then the person becomes your enemy. And often those become one's worst enemies, really. So this is the relation between causes and conditions that we really have to think about. So it's important to reflect on how it all arises, the afflictive emotions, where do they come from and how do they arise and so forth. And so in the Chud practice, it is said, recognizing all these demons and evil spirits as my parents, I invite you to partake of your child's flesh, blood, and bones. So this is what we say out verbally. That is what we recite. And that is actually a common line that is recited throughout many different Chud practices. There's different Chud practices, but it is these kind of words that are being used, even though the words may vary, but the meaning is essentially the same. So it's always important that you know how to apply the actual meaning to the words that you're practicing.
이게 책을 내가 치고 요래 이제 시보다 안 다르도 이제 lokpan jiba jisem 책대 이 책아 지지지도 되어가면 이제 jisem 되라들이 lokpan jiba jisem 상이 요래 왜냐면 중주거든요 중주지가 배주 jisem 때문에 야용디 야제들이 장고는 지바티 중주 차대요래 lokpan jiba 이렇게 yap고지나 저것도 매발치 배나 문제 뜻들이 조티 사람 가지고 볼까서 아니 조티 사람 가지고 봐요 조티 대조 가서들이 사드쳐도 파도 벗음 같은 모람 때문에 조티들이 다 모람 yap었다고요. 이 모람 rappor을 했다면들이 랑고 되게 사커를 랑고 사커를 이 사커니 랑고디 시박해 홀문을 담아서 랑고를 문을 맞다 버리죠. 랑고를 문을 맞다 랑고 고소를 사사만 그거요 홀문을 담아서 거시 이 고치 내가 가르치나 내 지금 고적 버터 버리고 문을 담아서 새 문을 담아서 데려오려고 해. 데려주리 다들 로지 제마 좀 계산 말이 다 대단하게는 들지마 내가 양 보고 저거 저거 준들와는 거 봐서 로지 시해요래 내가 원래 내가 lokpan 봐지 다다 소지sel로 쳤다지 당은 저거 약고지나 다 저거 저 약고지 다들 말이 로로지나 저거 또 돌아지 또 생다나 다들 lokpan 봐지 디산 선모디 속체라서 들이 제대로지 이게 돌아 맞지 맞지와 차대요. 이제 아스마야 랑라 강에지 lokpan 봐지 이제 동일 기세여라마 대발 차도 차들 돌을 제가 저 차도래.
So within the 6 afflictive emotions, there's also one that specifically relates to those demons or evil spirits, and that is jealousy. Jealousy is the basis, the foundation of demon. First, there's jealousy, and from jealousy arises a competitiveness, a rivalry. And actually, in the Tibetan language, at least, these terms, jealousy, actually competitiveness, and a corrupt intention are quite similar terms. So it is basically it is an ambition, it is a motivation that is perverted, that is corrupt. In terms of ambition or competitiveness, in a sense itself, there is actually a good sort of ambition, and there's also a negative sort of ambition. There is the positive form of ambition, being ambitious, is the one that is related to diligence. When one is very diligent in developing good qualities, then that is actually a good kind of ambition. But then there is another kind that is related to a corrupt and negative and evil and jealous intention. That is, for example, when someone is doing something good, then this jealous person comes along and tries to undermine that person's activity. For example, there is this story in the old days when the Bodhanath stupa in Nepal was constructed, after it was constructed, then there was this. There were these brothers who constructed it, and then they made a prayer about future aspirations and the benefit of the stupa. And meanwhile, there was an ox who was actually doing all the work. He was carrying all the earth and the stones around for the stupa. And so when he heard those prayers, and he felt left out, and he felt that actually I was the one who was doing all that work, and they're praising themselves and making prayers as though they were the ones who accomplished it, but actually I did it. So the ox felt left out, and he said, then he made a corrupt prayer, a corrupt intention. And he thought to himself, in future lives, whatever they do, I will be there to undermine it and to destroy their activities. So then, with that angry mind, the ox died, and in a future lifetime then, he was born as that king who tried to ruin the Vinaya teachings of the Dharma in Tibet. So there's many stories about that. But anyways, that's just an example of this corrupt intention or corrupt aspiration. And so we should, again, look at our own mind and see where we are at with that. For example, it happens in Dharma centers too. One is doing something good, a really good activity, and then another disciple, for example, comes along and is jealous and wants to undermine them and somehow bring them down. So that is such a corrupt aspiration. And then when this corrupt aspiration, this corrupt intention becomes very powerful, then even in this life already, that person becomes a quite evil person. And in future lifetimes, then that will perpetuate, and one is then born like a demon, like an evil spirit. So the essence of such a corrupt intention is, or jealousy, is that one rejoices, one is happy when others experience misfortunes. So that's really the root, and that jealousy is the root of becoming a demon.
Tare tere mama aye jana paye patan kara sova. Tare tere mama aye jana paye patan kara sova. Tare tere mama aye jana paye patan kara sova. Tare tere mama aye jana paye patan kara sova. Tare tere mama aye jana paye patan kara sova. Tare tere mama aye jana paye patan kara sova. Tare tere mama aye jana paye patan kara sova. Tare tere mama aye jana paye patan kara sova. Tare tere mama aye jana paye patan kara sova. Tare tere mama aye jana paye patan kara sova. Tare tere mama aye jana paye patan kara sova. Tare tere mama aye jana paye patan kara sova. Tare tere mama aye jana paye patan kara sova. Tare tere mama aye jana paye patan kara sova. Tare tere mama aye jana paye patan kara sova. Tare tere mama aye jana paye patan kara sova. Tare tere mama aye jana paye patan kara sova. Tare tere mama aye jana paye patan kara sova. Tare tere mama aye jana paye patan kara sova. Tare tere mama aye jana paye patan kara sova. Tare tere mama aye jana paye patan kara sova. Tare tere mama aye jana paye patan kara sova. Tare tere mama aye jana paye patan kara sova. Tare tere mama aye jana paye patan kara sova. Tare tere mama aye jana paye patan kara sova. Tare tere mama aye jana paye patan kara sova. Tare tere mama aye jana paye patan kara sova. Tare tere mama aye jana paye patan kara sova. Tare tere mama aye jana paye patan kara sova. Tare tere mama aye jana paye patan kara sova. Tare tere tu tari tu re mama ayo jana piye paten koraya sowa. Tari tu re mama ayo jana piye paten koraya sowa. Tari tu re mama ayo jana piye paten koraya sowa. Tari tu re mama ayo jana piye paten koraya sowa. Tari tu re mama ayo jana piye paten koraya sowa. Tari tu re mama ayo jana piye paten koraya sowa. Tari tu re mama ayo jana piye paten koraya sowa. Tari tu re mama ayo jana piye paten koraya sowa. Tari tu re mama ayo jana piye paten koraya sowa. Tari tu re mama ayo jana piye paten koraya sowa. Tari tu re mama ayo jana piye paten koraya sowa. Tari tu re mama ayo jana piye paten koraya sowa. Tari tu